Eva Umlauf never turns down an invitation. For the past few years, she has been travelling the length and breadth of Germany, meeting young Germans. Today, she is due in Frankfurt to tell her story, the story of a 2-year-old girl who survived a death camp.
In my town, we were called the children of Auschwitz. When people saw us, they would stop and say to my mother, "Agi, Agnes, you're alive. So are the children. It's a miracle."
In front of 100 schoolchildren, several survivors like her recount the horrors of Nazism. They range from 80 to 100 years old, all with a common concern, the rise of anti-Semitism and the far right.
They must know to ensure it never happens again.
Millions of people lost their lives because others looked the other way. It is essential to fight the lies and the parties that try to pretend it didn't happen.
Das an sich als nicht geschehen zu thematisieren, denen die rote Karte zu zeigen.
For these high school students, this could be their last encounter with Holocaust survivors, 2 generations who today share the same concerns.
We're seeing the far right on the rise, but also anti-Semitism everywhere since the war in Gaza. It's still very present.
These kinds of meetings are very important because they show us what happened and what we risk if we allow society to tip towards the far right again.
Germany's far-right AfD party is currently polling at 20% ahead of the general elections in February. Since it was founded a decade ago, the party has turned the political landscape upside down. Eva Umlauf's life has also changed. She's taken part in over 1,000 meetings during this time. Sent to Auschwitz with her pregnant mother just 2 months before it was liberated in January 1945, they were both tattooed, but escaped the gas chambers as Russian troops were closing in on the camp.
26,959. And my mother had an 8 at the end, 58. At Auschwitz, they always tattooed the parents before the children.
Originally from the Czech Republic, she moved to Germany in the 1950s. Last June, she called on young European voters to vote against the far right.
We now have anti-Semitism from the center. Then there's anti-Semitism against Israel, and I've lost count of the other kinds. But they are all aimed at Jews, as we know. But despite everything, even if the results don't live up to our expectations, we have to keep going. We have no other choice. We can't just surrender and wait for this to pass.
Like her, many other Holocaust survivors are now devoting their energy to the fight against anti-Semitism and xenophobia in Germany. Almost 5,000 anti-Semitic incidents were recorded in the country in 2023, compared with 3,000 in 2022. This upsurge is partly linked to the Hamas attack on Israel on the 7th of October 2023. At the age of 103, Margot Friedlander is still sharing her story. She returned to Germany from the US in the 2000s and has been committed to collective memory work ever since.
We are all called upon to communicate with others on a daily basis and to work towards tolerance. Because what happened must never happen again.
Margot is the only member of her family to have survived the Holocaust, an amber necklace inherited from her mother and the Star of David that the Nazis forced her to wear. These are all that remain of her youth under the Third Reich, apart from her unshakable will to remain a witness, testifying to the very end.
Ich sage ja nur, seid
I'm just saying, be human. For me, that's the most important thing I can advise. If you are human, the things that happened then and are happening again now wouldn't be happening. Respect people.
respektiert Menschen.
I always say that there is no Christian, Muslim, or Jewish blood. There is only human blood.
Kein jüdisches Blut. Es gibt nur menschliches Blut. Seid
Be human.
Menschen.
80 years after the liberation of the camps, more than a fifth of all Germans hold anti-Semitic views, according to the Office for the Protection of the Constitution.
Willst du einen Rollator mitnehmen?